Welcome to Get Ready to Be Inspired, the transformative power of emotional intelligence and principle-centered negotiation to further student success. You know, here at the University of Arizona Global Campus, we have core values, and we call them our pillars. And one of them is to communicate. We're committed to timely, professional, transparent communication. We value diverse perspectives, and we listen to understand and welcome feedback. We also advocate. We embed equitable practices by advocating for inclusion of diverse voices in every department within the university. Also, respect. We engage respectfully in every interaction. We recognize the inherent value of diverse perspectives, and we empower. We empower all members of our community to speak up, participate, create, learn, and grow. And then finally, we are student-centered. We're focused on the student. We look to meet the student where we're at. We use every decision and action as an opportunity to maximize student success. Now, so you've seen our presentation title, Get Ready to Be Inspired. I would like to now just quickly introduce myself and then turn it over to my wonderful colleagues here that I work with every day, that I'm lucky and grateful for. And they'll introduce themselves, and we'll also let you know what our view is for the culture of care. I'm Bill Davis. I'm the program chair in the Forbes School of Business and Technology here at the University of Arizona Global Campus. I've been in this program chair position of Bachelor's Operations Management Analysis for the past 5 years. The program's growing. Love seeing student success, and good things are happening. My prior career, I was in the PepsiCo system, progressed through different management ranks up to executive leadership positions, and then I transitioned this highly successful career into higher education. I've seen thousands of success stories. The thing I would just like to say when I think of culture of care, I think about leading with care. I think about leading with empathy, acting with compassion, and giving students consideration all the time, and leading by example. So important to lead by example and model the behaviors for our students that they need to see, because they do see us, they see our passion, they see our interest, and they know that we care and we're looking out for the best interest for their success. So with that said, let me introduce my colleague, Dr. Avisha Sadi Jihad. She'll tell you a little bit about herself, and then we'll go to Christy, and then we'll go to Laurel. So Avisha, go ahead and take the floor and tell everybody about you.
Thank you, Bill. Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Avisha Sadaginejad. I am the program chair for the marketing program, have been with our institution for over 12 years now. I have a doctorate in business administration with an emphasis in marketing, an MBA, and a bachelor's degree in mathematics. Before joining our institution, I have had several years of experience as a marketing officer at a startup company, as a brand manager and brand strategies in a couple of global food industry organizations, and also I have taught at undergrad and grad program levels in other institutions. So at the UAGC, I developed the BA in marketing program from scratch, and I am very happy to see every day that the students take the program, graduate successfully from the program, and I think that's the best thing that I can experience every day. With that, I'll hand it over to Christy.
Hello and welcome. My name is Christy Hamilton, and I'm a student advising manager at the University of Arizona Global Campus, overseeing a team of academic advisors who support our military-connected student population. I hold a bachelor's degree double majoring in communication studies and business administration from the University of Iowa and an MBA from UAGC. I have worked in higher education, specifically at this institution, for more than 12 years. So I have experience in academic advising, management, and recruitment. A culture of care is at the heart of UAGC, where we value diverse connections and opportunities by fostering a collaborative, inclusive, and empowered environment where employees and students feel respected, supported, and valued. We truly are a one team, better together driving force with the ultimate passion for supporting students from their first course through graduation and beyond. I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Laurel so she can share a little bit about herself.
All right. Thank you, Christy, and welcome everyone. It's such an honor to be here. I'm an academic advisor on the weekend team, and I've been here for about 3 years. Being an academic advisor has given me the opportunity to do what I love most, which is to help every student achieve self-actualization and success in earning their degree. And prior to my time at UAGC, I was a teaching assistant and later an adjunct professor at The Ohio State University in the School of Natural Resources. And I also have an MS in environmental studies and over 15 years of experience in customer service, which came from acting as a spokesperson for the Ohio EPA and also owning and managing my own small business, a yoga studio that offered adult wellness education in stress management and yoga. And during that time, I also became a certified business and life coach, which assisted me in learning emotional intelligence, which was instrumental in advancing my purpose, which was to help others become the next best version of themselves by transcending perceived limitations. I also did my master's thesis on responsible environmental behaviors in college students, which looked at locus of control, which is an instrument that measures personal empowerment. And I'm a published co-author of a book entitled Women on Fire, 21 Inspiring Women Share Their Life Secrets and Save You Years of Struggle. For me, the culture of care is based on the idea that each person has the inner resource to self-actualize. A culture of care starts with valuing the person as a whole as the foundation of every interaction. It is at the heart of a supportive environment and nurtures inclusivity and the individual's capacity to meet, greet, and rise to the occasion of life's challenges with agency, purpose, and fulfillment. It is marked by a sense of respect for each person's individual ability to find their way. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Bill.
Thank you, Laura, and thank all of you. You know, it's an absolute honor and a pleasure to collaborate and present with you today. And you know I always get something in every conversation that I have with all of you. So thank you for paying it forward. I know we're going to make a very meaningful contribution here to the culture of care, and we'll put that out there. So with that said, let me read the agenda real quick. You know, we're going to cover leading with emotional intelligence, EQ. The importance of EQ in leadership, developing EQ skills, EQ and diversity, equity and inclusion, student impact, and then also principal-centered negotiation. Just going to show you a couple things in there that can help with students and your colleagues, et cetera. Just a few tips. With that said, I'm going to go ahead and just say that I'm going to cover this slide and another one. And what I just like to reinforce again is always lead with care, empathy, and act with compassion. Lead by example and show students you are dedicated and committed to their success. You know, modeling consistency is so important, leading and lifting others and equipping them for success. And always demonstrating a positive attitude and helping nurture students and colleagues in their transformation is so important. So keep on leading well and keep on impacting meaningful outcomes and results and furthering student success. And Laura, I learned something new about you being a life coach. I didn't know that before, but I think that's absolutely wonderful. So with that said, my part is just to kind of give you the four dimensions of emotional intelligence here. And I just want to cover these quickly. And maybe I'll give you an example or two, but you know, when you're self-aware, you understand your emotions, you understand how you react to situations, you understand your confidence level, what you're comfortable with, what you're not. And you start to just see, you know, this is me, this is what I know, this is what I don't know, this is something I'm going to do, it's going to be a stretch, I'm going to expand my capacity, etc. But you're aware of your strengths and weaknesses and opportunities. Also, you're socially aware. You understand the situation that you're in You understand that with empathy. You see the dynamics. You have a service-oriented mentality that I want to make this better. I want to create some better outcomes. I want to lead. I want to help in the classroom. I want to help my peers. I want to help my colleagues enhance their skills, enrich them. I mean, because the sum is greater than the parts, and no one is smarter than all of us. So when all that collaboration comes together, good things happen. So, but you want to be self-aware of yourself, and then socially aware, and then self-management. Emotional self-control, taking initiative, conscientiousness, optimism. When you're optimistic, it doesn't mean you're blind to the challenges. It's just that you choose to look at those as challenges and solutions, and you're able to see the silver lining. So keep an optimistic attitude. Trustworthiness is so important. Everything lives and dies on trust, so we want to establish trust. It's built a piece at a time and over time. And you do that through good relationships, and you're able to adapt into situations, be flexible enough. You're not positioned, you understand the situation you're in, especially as an instructor, faculty, advisor, that I exist for that student. The student is the most important person on campus, and I'm here to further student success. And as I look at the UAGC vision, I think about, empower, enrich, support, and graduate every student, so that's what I see every day. And that's my mission, to further student success. And then finally, manage these relationships that you have. I feel I do a good job internally with my colleagues, and I also do a great job with my students. I care. I want them to see that your success is my success. I'm here to facilitate, help, coach, lead, whatever I can do to help you achieve your goals and the vision you have. So, that's all part of managing that relationship, development of others, bond building, right? And most importantly, teamwork and collaboration, which is a good example, which you see right here. We've teamed up. Here we are together. Everybody achieves more. Christy Hamilton, as part of this panel, invented the one saying, and we took it and ran with it. We've been doing this for about a year. One team, better together. Boy, what a great rallying cry. And I believe in that, because there's energy, synergy. So the more we share, the more we care. And the more we care, the more we share. So I think that's so important to continue to move forward. So with that said, I'd like to turn this over to my colleague and friend, Christy Hamilton.
Thank you so much, Bill. I appreciate you sharing those examples of how you use emotional intelligence in the classroom and what the 4 dimensions look like. So let's explore a little bit about the importance of emotional intelligence in leadership. Emotional intelligence plays a pivotal role in successful leadership by building strong relationships, fostering teamwork, and promoting a positive workplace culture. So it's important that leaders know how to use it. EQ helps leaders to enhance their communication skills, build and manage strong relationships, manage conflict in difficult situations, making the right decisions in challenging times, and to motivate and inspire their team members to achieve their goals. So let's dig in a little bit further into each of these components. So effective communication is an essential skill for any leader, because leaders need to be able to communicate their vision, goals, and expectations clearly and effectively to their team members. Additionally, leaders need to be able to actively listen and empathize with their staff perspectives. Leaders with high emotional intelligence are better equipped to communicate effectively. And the reasoning for that is they have the ability to adjust their communication style to fit the needs of their audience. They can also read the emotions of their team members and adjust their communication accordingly, which ultimately leads to more productive and positive interactions. Moving into the next component, conflict management is a skill that leaders need to be able to manage in a constructive and positive way. Leaders who have strong emotional intelligence skills can effectively manage conflict by staying calm, collected, and composed during tense and even difficult situations. They can also empathize with their staff members and find solutions to meet the needs of all parties involved, which can help, as a result, de-escalate conflicts. Effective decision-making is crucial for successful leadership, as we all know. Leaders with high emotional intelligence, we can recognize and understand our own emotions to help make more informed and rational decisions in the moment. We can use our ability to empathize with the emotions of others by considering their perspectives and what their needs are when we're in the process of making those decisions, which ultimately can lead to better decisions that are more aligned with the goals and values of the organization. And then lastly, leading with emotional intelligence can inspire and motivate team members to achieve their goals by recognizing and understanding their emotions to create ultimately a positive and supportive work environment. Leaders with high emotional intelligence are able to build strong relationships with others that inspire growth, creativity, and innovation, leading to improved performance, productivity, and job satisfaction. My goal as a leader is to always foster an environment that values a culture of respect, teamwork, diversity, collaboration, growth, and innovation. I want my advisors to feel valued, respected, and heard. And as a result, my team provides exceptional and meaningful experiences that further student success. If you could go ahead and click to the next slide, Bill, I would appreciate it. All right, so let's explore just some common and simple ways to help develop and enhance our EQ skills. According to the authors of Emotional Intelligence 2.0, Travis Bradbury and Jean Greaves, there is actually a gap between the popularity of emotional intelligence as a concept and its application in society. So let's talk about these practical steps that can help leaders improve their EQ skills. The first step towards developing EQ is to become more self-aware by being able to recognize and understand your own emotions and how you're feeling, which affects your behavior overall. 2, to develop empathy, it is important to actively listen to others and try to see things from their perspective. You can practice empathy by putting yourself in someone else's shoes and imagine how they might be feeling in that moment. This can help you develop a deeper understanding of others and to also build strong and healthy relationships. To develop emotional regulation, it is important to learn techniques for managing stress. This could consist of meditation, deep breathing exercise. You can also practice delaying your response to a situation or email until you have had time to process your emotions, allowing you to respond in a more thoughtful, productive way. To develop social skills as a leader, you must also practice assertiveness, active listening, conflict resolution, networking, and building relationships with people from diverse backgrounds. Ultimately, developing emotional intelligence skills is a lifelong process, so be patient with yourself. It requires continuous learning and growth. By continuing to learn, develop, and grow your emotional intelligence skills, you can become a more effective and successful leader while building stronger relationships with your team members. I'm going to go ahead and pass the floor over to Avisha, who's going to talk about EQ and diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Thank you, Christy. So as Bill and Christy mentioned, EQ has several great dimensions, and having that would be great if our instructors can promote that in their classroom. But let's look at EQ and the connection that EQ has with DEI, or diversity, equity, and inclusion, and how these two components can impact our students' success. As Christy and Bill mentioned, one of the characteristics of higher EQ is empathy. So individuals with high EQ demonstrate strong empathy, which enable them to understand and connect with the experiences and perspectives of others. So empathy is crucial for fostering an inclusive environment. And leaders and team members with high emotional intelligence are more likely to understand the challenges faced by diverse individuals and work towards creating solutions that promote equity and inclusion. So if we have that in our classrooms, it will lead to better student success. The next component is effective communication. EQ skills, including effective communication, promote clarity and understanding in interpersonal relationships. So clear and inclusive communication in the classroom is fundamental for DEI initiatives. Individuals with high EQ can communicate inclusively and will ensure that diverse voices are heard, valued, and understood within the community, within the classroom, within their group. Another one is relationship management. Emotional intelligence emphasizes relationship building and effective interpersonal skills. So building positive relationships is critical for creating an inclusive community. Individuals with higher EQ can negotiate diverse perspectives, can navigate diverse relationships, and foster collaboration and cooperation among their peers. In the classroom, individuals with high EQ can manage conflict effectively and find constructive solutions. And again, in classroom, conflicts may arise due to different perspectives. As instructors, we have always, had situations in our classrooms where, different students have different perspectives, or us as instructors have a different perspective with our students. So using the EQ skills contribute to resolving conflicts in a way that respects and acknowledge diverse viewpoints and promote a harmonious classroom and community. The next one is resilience and adaptability. Researchers have shown that EQ fosters adaptability and resilience in the face of change. We all are experiencing change, especially after the COVID. So in our classroom, individuals with higher EQ, with having that EQ skills being practiced in them, are more likely to adapt positively to changes. And that will contribute to the successful implementation of DEI, which is very important for our university and our classroom. And adaptable leadership is crucial for DEI success. Leaders with high EQ are better positioned to make inclusive decisions and considering the diverse perspective and needs of their team members. So the same thing will be happen in the classrooms if our instructors bring that EQ to the classroom. And the last but not least is collaboration and team dynamic. Emotional intelligence contributes to positive team dynamics and collaboration. Diverse teams benefit from effective collaboration, and students with high EQ can navigate the complexities of the diverse team dynamics or the community that they are active in, and foster an environment where every student, every peer feels valued and included. EQ also helps individuals recognize and manage their own biases. This is very important for us to know our own biases and be aware of other people that we are interacting with, what their biases are. And addressing those unconscious bias is a key aspect for DEI efforts. Individuals with high emotional intelligence are more likely to engage in self-reflection and reducing the impact of bias on their decision-making and when they interact with others. So with that, I'll give the floor to Laurel to continue.
Excellent. Thank you, Dr. Avisha. I really love what you said about how leaders with strong emotional intelligence are better able to communicate with empathy and inclusivity, and that allows for adaptability. And also, Christy, how you brought in the emotional intelligence brings the ability to read emotions in the room and adapt to support others and manage conflict, which can lead to de-escalation and positive outcomes. And finally, Bill, you mentioned modeling and leading by example and self-awareness. So much of this you guys have covered so well. for me personally, what I'll add to that is just how important as an advisor, being able to come to the table with emotional self-regulation when perhaps dealing with an escalated student is really important. And there are a lot of tools. I know, Christy, you mentioned the meditation, and I would add to that breath work and also taking pause. Why is it so important that leaders lead with emotional intelligence? Because our impact is heightened. And when we think about it from the perspective of many of our students that come to UAGC, they're coming with really diverse backgrounds. Many of them have attempted school multiple times, and they have a lot of conflicting priorities in their lives because they're working, they have families, and so they're very impressionable. So whatever we say as advisors and faculty to them has an enormous impact. And that is why leading with emotional intelligence and modeling that is so important. Luckily, we do have a model here that we can lean on to help us do that as advisors. We have the academic advising service model. And when we use this 4-step model, it really incorporates most everything we've covered so far. I'm going to walk you through what you see here. So in the first bubble, the first step is engagement. Establishing and maintaining an environment that encourages sharing and open dialogue. How do we encourage sharing and open dialogue? By creating safe space. And how do we do that? By actively listening without judgment. Sometimes just being silent on the phone call with the student and letting them vent is essential to moving past it. When people feel judged, they don't feel safe or seen. I can't tell you how many times I have a sense from a student when I talk with them that they're afraid to call advising because they thought they might be judged or criticized for their failings. When we establish rapport, we do that with genuine connection and empathy, and we provide active listening. Well, that goes back to modeling. We have to be able to self-regulate and practice not thinking about what I'm going to say next, but allowing for and acknowledging difficult or strong feelings that the student is having to build trust and rapport. I like the analogy of the early explorers who were sailing the world. At the time, they believed the world was flat. So when it stormed, when they were at sea, they were terrified of what? Of being blown off the edge of the earth. Were their feelings real? Yes. But were they an accurate reflection of truth? No. The world wasn't flat, but they thought it was. I find that sometimes this can be the case when talking to students. So simply allowing them to get that off their chest is a really powerful starting point. Sometimes it can be helpful to share my personal experience if it's relevant to what the student has shared, but it's really important to keep that to a very minimum. The second step in the model is identifying specific motivation needs, concerns, and goals. So during this part of the process, we ask a variety of open-ended, closed-ended, and developmental questions to really learn more about the student's situation beyond what the student's initial reason for calling was. They can often minimize exactly what's going on. So sometimes it does take some careful prodding to get to the root of what's happening for the student. And then the third step in the model is advisement, providing a solution based on specific information that was discovered through the questioning. We advise the student of their options and strategies, allowing the student to make the best decision for themselves, knowing that they have the capacity to do that. We give accurate information about university policies and timelines. And finally, this last step is commitment, acting on an advised solution. As an advisor, we try to take ownership of the interaction, provide any relevant or necessary follow-up, to complete the transaction, but also review what the student's next steps are. I always ask for permission with students, and sometimes I share with them, I'm speaking with you human to human, not as an advisor, and I might share something with them briefly. This is a really strong way of creating, I'm going to use the word intimacy today, or connection. And it's really kind of what Brene Brown speaks about in her book, Staring Greatly and the Gifts of Imperfection. And sometimes I've struggled with things. And so being able to just touch on that can make the student feel not alone, which is also important. And the deep listening builds trust and helps the student discharge the emotions or the energy associated with their emotions. I've heard it said, emotions are just energy in motion. And so they have to move. And if they go unacknowledged, they don't move, and that can block the student from actually tapping into their potential and strategic action that moves them towards their goals. So when talking to an escalated student, that might look like taking a pause and possibly using the hold button to self-regulate first and come back to the student. Simply saying, hey, can I put you on hold for just a second? I need to check on something. And when talking with students that are everyone else's support, but don't have a support, that are struggling with school, we have so many single parents raising multiple children. I often ask them, are you the only one, or are you the one that's everybody else's support? Do you have a support? And it's amazing how many times they say, yes, I don't have support. So when they say that, we discuss how they may have the ability to step into a courageous conversation, ask for help, and set boundaries to make their school a priority and actually set themselves up for success. Also, I've had the experience of talking with students who struggle with health challenges many times, and sometimes I'll briefly share something I've struggled with my own health. And we talk about how their health is a priority because they are a whole person. And if a person doesn't have their health, that's the foundation of being able to feel good and have the ability to pursue our goals and dreams. It may end up leading us to an access and wellness referral or brainstorming strategies to manage and balance their health with school. When we look at these bullet points to the left of the advising model, it really kind of summarizes what I just said, providing a safe space for open dialogue, do that through active listening, acknowledge the feelings and emotions of the students, build the rapport and trust, use effective communication that is founded on emotional intelligence, and sometimes sharing personal experiences. So with that, I'm going to hand the presentation back over to Bill.
Thank you very much, Laura. And you bring a lot of the real world into this, and we appreciate it and appreciate all you do, you and Christy advising students. I'm just going to be pretty quick and brief here. And I just want to share with you, from our leadership motivation class, I've learned this in my grad program too, and studied it at PepsiCo. But there's three basic types of conflicts that occur. One's an interest conflict, one's cognitive, and one's normative. Normatives are value type conflicts where somebody really gets offended. That takes a long time to resolve sometimes, but the interest conflicts are normal sometimes. Maybe the student or colleague sees it one way, you see it another, so you bump. We'll relate that to a bump, the interest. And that's normal sometimes. It's pervasive in cultures because you got competing values. But that's going to happen from time to time. So remember that. And I just want to give you some tips on how to resolve it. Cognitive conflict is how you see it, how they see it, and then how it really is. So sometimes we have different cognitive conflicts where, I always would use an example. I put a Pepsi can out and I say, what's this look like to you? And I tip it upside down. I say, what's it look like to you? Then I'd put it on the other side where the pull tab was. And then I said, everybody tell me what a Pepsi can looks like. And somebody said, well, it has a top on top. Somebody say, well, it's got color. Somebody would talk about it from the bottom. But that's an example of a cognitive conflict where you're seeing it one way, they're seeing it another. And then normative, you know, the value type conflict where you just got such a strong difference. But what I'd like to tell you is every now and then you're going to go through a little bit of a bump, you know, and we want to use our empathy so we don't bruise anybody. You know, we want to make use our empathy so we don't have headbangers and take positions and nobody's talking and everything's locking up. You know, that's not good for the student. It's not good for us. So with that said, here's a solution. Getting to yes, negotiating agreement without giving in. What a classic book here that I just absolutely love. And I've read this years ago, read it several times. But here's 4 major components. You know, always remember this. Separate the people from the problem. You know, try to look at this as a system and people and support. So if you have a situation, you know, yeah, this one might have this opinion, might have that opinion, but you know, your job is how do you resolve that problem? Focus on interests, not positions, you know, because sometimes we got to be flexible and be able to come back and shift and find a better solution, you know, and we want to invent options for mutual gain. And then we want to insist on using objective criteria because a lot of times you become too emotional, you lose. You take a position and now you can't have progress moving forward. But this is a fantastic book. I recommend if you're interested in this principle center negotiation, it's wonderful. Here's what I wanted to tell you, though, when you separate people from the problem, that always remember if you do have a conflicted situation, that sometimes strong emotions follow that. And they're often involved in conflict situations. So don't let it escalate. You know what I mean? Pause, wait, let the situation settle, go back to it. But because only hurting people's feelings and trying to be right only makes things worse. You know, I always say, take your left hand, put your right one on it, and then push. And what your left one automatically do, it pushes back. That reaction can happen sometimes if you put pressure on pressure. But, you know, again, speak for purpose. When anger's high, if you do see some anger, you know, some things are just better left unsaid and get through it. You know, use your EQ. Say, well, I don't want to enter into that, but don't freeze up, make it normal and just keep the thing moving toward a solution. Before making a statement, know what purpose the information will serve. You know, you don't want to rush to judgment. You want to, okay, I'm going to make this statement. I'm going to pause and then I want to let them know that I care and relate to the student, relate to your colleague. Because one team better together, and you know the sum is always greater than the parts. So when you get somebody working with you and you have a unified front, so much better. And that's what I love working with the advisor team. We have a unified front. Again, just some more things. Don't blame the other person for the problem. I mean, it's going to happen now. Something's going to go wrong. You know, Murphy's Law. What's possible to go wrong sometimes does. But act as a partner, not an enemy. Always allow a cooling off period when necessary. Use symbolic gestures when appropriate. You know, an apology or, hey, maybe I read that wrong. You know, but be genuine and be authentic and deal with people as human beings. Now, with that said, that concludes our presentation. We think we've given you a little value in each of these key areas here. You've learned about EQ, how to apply it. You've learned it, you know, how we're doing it in a classroom. You learn how we're doing it at the advisor level. You know, so you're seeing all this. So lead with EQ, be good leader coaches. What a fantastic session. I want to thank my colleagues personally again for teaming up with me on this. This was wonderful and really exciting. And we're giving something back. We're paying it forward. I'm very proud of that. So I want to thank you for being here. And then I'm going to just allow just a quick soundbite here, 15, 20 seconds from my colleagues to say a last word. I'll start with you, Laura.
Just want to say thank you so much. The collaboration and the way the 3 of you exemplified culture of care and working with me was really uplifting, as this was a new experience for me. And I just learned so much from you all. Thank you. And I really hope that our audience has gained some valuable tips on how to lead with EQ. Christy, I'll pass to you.
Yes, thank you so much, Laurel. So I just want to thank everyone for watching our session today. There's a lot of information that was shared with you. So take the things that resonate with you the most and really incorporate those into your daily life. Dr. Avisha, it's all you.
Thank you very much, everyone. It was a pleasure for me to be able to talk to you. I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great Culture of Care Summit.